Recently I inherited this 7-foot fish tank from a client who was in the middle of renovating her home, and hence it was free for removal, so a group of us got together and moved it into our goldfish retreat. So the existing filtration I was never really that happy with, and so as a result I have had a look around, and we've decided on some Oase Biomasters. So hopefully we're going to clean up a lot of this debris that's in here, because as I say, the current filter setup is just struggling a bit to maintain the sort of clarity I really want. And we've got a very, very big load here on this fish tank as well. So there's roughly about 20 old goldfish in here of quite large size. These guys probably are all, well, apart from the smaller fantails and black moors, or the comets, would be over 25 centimetres or so. So yeah. Okay, so quite a large loading as far as fish goes for a fish tank. So this fish tank's 7 foot long and comes in at around 850 litres in volume. So a bit of water there, and a bit of water to process and filter. So I had to talk to Oase about them, and anyway, they've gone with the recommendation of not only just an 850, but some added on filtration as well. We did originally discuss a smaller model, but I decided to go a bit bigger. So we're actually going to fit 2 units to this tank to put up with the extra load that this tank does see. From time to time, the numbers of fish in this tank do fluctuate, and we can be having more fish sometimes. So we've got a Biomaster 600 and a Biomaster 850, and we're going to install both units here onto this tank. Alright, so let's open up the box and get started. Okay, so nicely packaged. Cardboard, a little bit of poly, so yeah, cardboard, not lots of foam like so many other devices. So this is the 850. Just going to pull out here. Okay, now there's the 850 compares to the 600. So very similar in height. A couple of extra trays in the 850, obviously. Less trays in the 600. Now, also in the box, more cardboard, and another separate box for all the bits. We've got our hose, which is our return lines and pickup points, and also our bag of fittings. So these are the elbows and whatnot, and hose clamps that actually go over the side of the tank. There's also a spray bar, the option there to add a heater. Now, the one thing that I do know about these units is if you're not using the genuine Oase heater, your warranty on these units is immediately null and void. So there are heaters that will fit. However, if you have an issue, say bye-bye to your warranty. Okay, so one thing I will add, this is the standard model. We're not using a thermo unit. We are only keeping goldfish. Goldfish do not require heating, so therefore they're going to be quite comfortable living in a cold water environment. Now, there's some quite unique features about the Biomasters. One is they've got some very unique locking mechanisms and just devices to actually make life a little bit easier. So there's 2 little blue tabs here and here. These must be slid across in order to remove your hose pipe. So this is when it comes time for maintenance and you want to lift this unit out of where it's sitting. You've got your nice sturdy handle there to grab a hold of to lift that unit out. The bonus being is that when you lift this out, this would normally be attached to your hoses going back in and out of your tank. When you actually turn this lever, it slides it around. You can't see it in there, but it actually seals off these pipes. So you've got no problems with water running out anywhere. Okay, so that piece there can come out all together. Normally you sit it in there. Now it is keyed. There is a large keyway and a small keyway, which you can see in there. There's the large one and there's the small one. Okay, to make sure you line it back up properly. Now, both these levers need to be unlocked before you can remove the pre-filter. And this is one of the big things that really appealed to me with these units, is the fact that they've got a pre-filter on them. So this is going to facilitate for cleaning much easier. Now this tank gets cleaned on a regular basis as it is, approximately once a fortnight. But to be able to leave all the media inside here undisturbed and only open up the pre-filter sounds like a damn good idea to me. Now it's very important when you do open these up. These are quite unique too. There's also a little check valve in the bottom here. You can put a tray underneath, a cup or a bowl to help catch any water when you lift this pre-filter out. But there is a check valve to stop losing the greater majority of water out of here. Okay, now there is actually in the side here, don't touch these tabs up around the top. They will break, and if they do break, you've got to buy a whole new unit. You can't buy just that part. Okay, so there's two little tabs. They're directly opposite of each other. Squeeze in there, and bang, out it comes. So there's actually a couple of different colours in these. There is a different grade, and I know that the 600's got the blue sponges in it, where this has got the orange sponges. So these are actually slightly coarser. But anyway, this is clean, so we don't need to clean that right now. Now, in order to lift the lid off and access the media, you can't lift this catch up straight away. The handle must be in the upright position before that will lift and release. Okay, so there's the head unit. Obviously the pump motor's located in there, so your impeller's in under that housing. Okay, and here's your media trays. We've got that coarse sponge and even coarser again in the blue sponge. Okay, there's a few different types. So mostly these are made up. Sorry, the red sponge is actually quite fine. I should say it's finer than the blue. Look, a lot of people like to change the media over. They don't necessarily like to use the sponge media. In the pond world, we've been using this same media in sponge filters, canister filters for a very long time, and it's been a very resilient media. It certainly lasts a long time. The surface area is pretty phenomenal too. So we'll get all these trays out. As we get down the bottom, so there's another 2 trays. So we've got 4 trays of blue sponges, 1 tray of orange. Okay, and then we've got 2 trays, and this is the 850, of their Helix biomedia. So this is a neutrally buoyant plastic media. A lot of people like to change over to matrix and all the rest of it, but the surface area that's contained on this stuff is absolutely fantastic. It's the same media they use on their moving bed module filters. So yeah, and it does work very effectively as far as surface area it has. Alright, so we've got 2 trays of them. Alright, look, most importantly, if you're gonna replace this media, don't overfill your trays. If you overfill the trays, they're not going to lock back together properly, and as a result, your unit's not going to seal properly when you put it all back together. Hence, that's going to void your warranty and damage your seals in the process, and you'll be up for new parts. So, yeah, hot tip, run it as is, or don't overdo it. Yeah, don't overpack it. Alright, so we'll put all these back in. They all do sit back in very nicely. It's not, I don't have to really jiggle them about too much to make them sit in there. They do want to locate very easily. Okay, so quite a simple procedure. And putting the lid back on, exactly the same process as to taking it off. Make sure everything's seated nicely in there, otherwise it's not going to clamp down properly. Alright, so with all the bits and pieces that we've got, I think it's probably about time that we hook this up and give these fish some more filtration. Now, one of the other things that I like about this unit too is the hose size. So the hose sizes are both the same. It doesn't matter whether it's in or out, and we're both sitting around that 16mm hose. So more of the generic hose size that you can pick up if you do need to extend these lines. So there's your little screw nut there. So simply screw that on, and there's a nice coarse thread. Push that pipe onto it. Oops, this is a bit not the easiest to do, holding the phone in one hand and performing the task in the other. And then simply wind that nut back up, and that creates a compression gland to hold that pipe in place. All right, so that's our first one set up. Now, from what I'm told, these a few pumps of the primer. Okay, there we go, we're starting to expel that air, and we're starting to suck a bit of water through into the unit and fill the chuck underneath. Okay, let's get some power hooked up, and let's get this unit going. Okay, now naturally when you first start it up, there is still going to be some residual air in those foam sponges, so it is going to take a little bit for it to disperse and come out. Alright, so it's been a couple of weeks since we've had these Biomasters set up in here, and I've got to say the water clarity has definitely improved. So there's a huge difference, and we've got a lot more water turning over inside here, of course, and there's a few particles. I've just been playing with the filter, which has stirred up a bit of air, but I can certainly vouch for the improved water clarity. So anyway, as I say, it's been a couple of weeks, so it's probably about time we have a look at these pre-filters and just see how dirty they are and how easy they really are to clean. So they've been left untouched since it's been set up, and so we'll pull it apart now and have a bit of a look. So really good idea, have yourself a bucket on hand and maybe a couple of old towels just to help with any water spillage. Yeah, the last thing you want is your partner screaming at you for the water that you've spilt all over the carpet. Alright, so I've lifted this out of the cabinet. I've got a couple of old towels here that we use in the fish room, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug the filter. Okay, so now there's the two control mechanisms on the side. It's hard to show this because of the position that it's in and the size of this cabinet. Okay, so we have to unlock the first one and then unlock the second one. Okay, now a bit of back pressure in there, which has just sort of released that pre-filter already. So as soon as we turn that actually turns a valve inside there, which stops the flow of water. So we can quite safely leave that out, and we know the water's not going to go anywhere. We're not going to lose water out of the tank. Okay, so this is where a bucket's a really good idea. We lift out that pre-filter module, hold it over the top of the bucket, and head over to the sink. Okay, so now that we've got our canister, we want to be really careful of these little clips here. They will break very easily. So it's this clip here and this clip here. So there's only two of them on the side that we want to concentrate on. So by pressing both of those in, we're able to lift that out and you can see there's certainly collected a nice bit of muck there over the last couple of weeks. But anyway, let's get into cleaning that. So these pre-filter sponges do slide off nice and easily. They do facilitate. Put that somewhere safe where it's not going to fall down, and let's start cleaning. Now, the other big bonus is the fact that because these are is only a pre-filter, we don't really have to worry too much about chlorinated water in cleaning them, because all the media that is housed separately is still retaining that beneficial bacteria to help process your fish's waste. So this is merely a pre-filter. I suppose in the ideal world, and look, most people are too lazy, including myself, you would clean this on every 24 hours, because pretty much after 24 hours this does start to become biological. So the cleaner you can keep a pre-filter, the better off it is for certainly keeping the flow rate up on everything. Alright, so we've finished cleaning our sponges, and it's just a simple matter. I've slided them back up that tube, and we're almost ready to reinstall it. Now, the 850 does have the slightly coarser sponge, the orange coloured sponges, whereas those blue ones were very fine. And we can see that there's nowhere near as much debris, and I suppose that's because there's a lot more fines passing through. So, yeah, interesting comparison, but it's still stopping a lot of that, nitrogenous waste actually going through and getting to the main body of the filter. So there's still a fair bit of muck coming out of those sponges. Alright, so our pre-filter is nice and clean, put back together, and lining those slots up. Back in, turn our levers back around, and pop it back in its home. Okay. And we're away again until that air starts to clear. Okay, so to sum up, I think Oase has done a fantastic job as far as an aquarium filter goes. Having one of the only canister filters on the market designed for aquarium with a removable pre-filter, which means you don't have to strip the whole entire unit down to clean it out. I think that's going to alleviate a lot of maintenance and certainly make life a lot easier for a lot of people. I certainly know it's going to improve my maintenance schedule as well. So, but anyway, that's it for us on this one. Something a bit different, concentrating on the aquarium world instead of the pond world. But let's see what we come up with in the next video. Have a great day, have a great week, and we'll catch us all soon. Cheers.